of course, the bigger picture here is South Africa's shocking unemployment rate. Why is the South African education system failing the youth, based on a lot of the research that you guys have done?
So our research really has been around the quality, what differentiates the schools that do well. So in this country, there are about 20% of schools that do well and 80% that don't do well. And, this is not a statistic we've come up with. It comes from the Department of Education. We've come up with two things that we've realized. The first is the quality of the principals as the leadership. And the schools that do well, I mean, those principals, their whole life experience has prepared them for this job, from where they went to university, what they were exposed to, but they also have amazing support systems around them. So they have, whether it's a school governing body or whether it's just the parent body, it's so skilled and can support our school principals. And the schools that don't do so well, it's a teacher who was promoted to be a principal, and no offense, but they were never given the skills about what it meant to lead and to manage. But they also don't have any support. So you'll find in the well-resourced schools, there's a finance committee, there's an HR committee. The principal has time to focus on what their job is, which is, how am I leading the learning curriculum? Are we actually achieving what we set out to do? But in our schools that don't do so well, the principal is juggling 10 balls at one time. That means there's very little time for the principal to actually focus on what is the quality of learning that we're delivering in the school.
Rosie, what makes a good school principal? Does it is it better to promote someone internally, like someone sort of work their way up from a senior teaching position to principal, or bringing someone over from like the corporate world, someone that's good in a leadership role and good in a managerial role, sort of like a good delegator?
So I know the department has come up with a new standard of principalship, which is, I promise you, a lot of the top CEOs in this country would not make the cut for that job. But for us, it's somebody who's internal, but somebody who's been supported, so give them the skills, give them the support so they can do their job well, because, I mean, essentially they need to know the fundamentals of teaching and how to run a school, but they also need the leadership skills. And I think what we've realized is that business has a massive role to play in bringing those skills to our schools. So our program is really about partnering principals with business leaders, because the business leaders bring a completely different perspective to the challenges in the school. But they've also had years of leadership and management training. So, I mean, we do a comparison between one of the biggest banks in this country, and over a year, a business leader there will get 10 days of leadership training. Our principals get nothing.
Rosie, another thing you cited was the sort of lack of engagement between the schools and their communities and the parents, I guess, like your sort of parent-teacher associations. Why is that happening, and how do you encourage parents and communities to get more involved with their schools?
In our resource schools, a lot of our parents are quite well educated. They have great jobs, and they know the importance of being actively involved in their schools. So they show up. And I mean, you talk about private schools, there's a queue for people who want to be in our school governing bodies. The difference is, in our township schools, probably you find that our school governing bodies might be made up of an unemployed mom in the community. So the parents in our well-resourced schools have more skills and more resources that they can contribute to schools as compared to our under-resourced schools.
Okay, Rosie, thanks very much for your time, and good luck with the work you guys are doing.